But I cannot hear your voice, Dr. Sagar.
Uh, yes. Now can you hear, sir? It is audible.
Okay, Dr. Pillai, can you speak?
Yeah, Dr. Sitanshu, can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Your voice is audible to us.
Shall we start? Mr. Joshi?
Yes, yes, ma'am. We can start now. We are ready.
Yeah, yeah. So, dear participants, my dear colleagues, students, and our principal, sir, I welcome you all for the international webinar on bridging the gap, opening up large volumes to nanotechnology, organized by School of Sciences PP Savani University. So, what exactly is nanotechnology? Nanotechnology basically revolve around the study and control of phenomena and materials at length scales below 100 nanometer. And quite often they make a comparison with human hair, which is about 80,000 nanometer wide. Nanotechnology has a vast range of applications, such as in medicine, electronics, biomaterials, solar cells, sporting goods, lasers, displays, aerospace, nano foods, textiles, cosmetics, and energy production. Nanotechnology, we can say, can transform vapors escaping from cars or industrial plants into harmless gases. So, looking at its importance, we thought we can have a webinar on such an important topic. Let us now welcome our today's speaker, Dr. Sitanshu Shekhar Nanda, who has published many good research papers on this topic. Dr. Sitanshu Shekhar Nanda was born in Odisha, India, and received his B Pharm, M Pharm in pharmacy from Biju Patnaik University of Technology. After finishing his M Pharm at Biju Patnaik University of Technology and Sciences, Suryapet, Telangana in 2009. In 2012, he moved to Gachon University and received his PhD in Bio-nanotechnology, working with Professor Dong Ki Yi. He became an assistant professor at Myungji University in 2015. His research interests include tissue engineering and applications of materials in nanomedicine. So, I welcome once again Dr. Sitanshu Shekhar Nanda and will request him to start his talk today.
Sir, you can now start with your presentation.
Your mic is off. Dr. Sitanshu, your mic is off.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible now.
You are
Wait,
audible,
wait,
sir.
wait, wait.
I think some technical issue. He must be joining in some time.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Now? Hello, Dr. Sagar, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Your presentation is visible to us.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Good morning to all. So today we are going to discuss about bridging the gap opening of large volume of to nanotechnology. So I think some audible problem, but I hope you can, all of you can hear me very well. So anyway, today we are going to discuss. Okay, in introduction, we are going to discuss graphene oxide based fluorimetric detection of hydrogen peroxide in milk and study of antibacterial mechanism of graphene oxide using Raman spectroscopy, oxidative stress of antibacterial properties of a graphene oxide cysteamine hybrid, and some future perspective and what. So as you know, now you can see the coronavirus is spreading, and the coronavirus size is 200 nanometer. That's why, from this point of view, you can understand the importance of uh, virus, coronavirus. So, 1 minute. Okay. So, in introduction, you see, graphene is a noble material. It got Nobel Prize in 2010, and it is having various applications from starting from molecular engineering, synthesis, analytical application, energy application, hybrid, and in thin film making. So it's a kind of groundbreaking research. So graphene, it is when you are oxidizing the graphite, then it is becoming graphene oxide. Then graphene oxide, when you are going to reduction, then it is shown as a graphene, and it is very exceptional material with its optical and physical mechanical electronic properties, and its easy of functionalization, high antibacterial activity are the two major activity of graphene oxide, and it is used for the surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy, fluorescence quenching ability, and some other properties also. And why it is important? Because you see, non-medical field or you can say physical activity field, it is 2 to 3 type application. But you see, medical field, it is having several applications starting from bioimaging, biosensor, and your drug delivery. Everything graphene oxide is used, and you can see nearly 64% of 62% it is used in the medical nature, and it is having small size and large surface area, and aromatic ring molecule GH promising material for drug delivery, and it is toxicity also very low, and you can the synthesis is very simple. When graphite they are using potassium permanganate, sulfuric acid, and sodium nitrate, then it is turned to graphene oxide, just oxidizing the material, and in place of phosphoric acid, they are making very good graphene oxide, and when they are using sodium nitrate, they are just making the slight, and it is becoming nano. The size is thickness is 0.8 to 1.2 nanometer. Its diameter is 1 to 5 micrometer. Its contact angle is 0.13 to 0.17, and the UV range is 232 nanometer. So in various compound like silver, polyamide, insulin, carboxylic acid, gold nanoparticle peptide when conjugated with graphene oxide, and it is showing prominent activity like antibacterial activity or biosensor activity. So what is the recent trend in graphene research? You see in the slide, graphene is very similar peak with diamond, that is aromatic ring peak, that is known as G band. And when the graphene layer increases 1 nanometer, 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer thickness increases, then its its G band also changes. By manipulating this G band, then using the antibacterial activity or anti-sensor means biosensor activity or bioimaging activity, we can use. And in cancer field, when graphene we are adding gold chloride and silver nitrate, ascorbic acid, then it is putting doxorubicin. Then by probing the drug delivery, and it is working as a surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy, then drug releasing is happening. So it is working as a stabilizer, polymer or surfactant by changing growth rate parameter, optical properties, and its surface enhanced sensitivity towards the aromatic ring molecule can be increased. So next is okay. Next is when graphene oxide, then graphene you can put silver and some fluorescence molecule like RCC, then it's G band and two-dimensional band. Two-dimensional band is known as carbon and oxygen stretching. It is also changing. So then what is the current application you see in the graph? Graphene, if there is some CH bending or CH stretching happening, then the peak is changing. So as you know, cancer is having phenylalanine, and it is having different CH stretching and NH bending. From cancer to cancer patient, the bending and stretching differs. So by using stereochemistry approach, we can easily detect the cancer. So this is the recent trend, and one of my experiment I did fluorimetry detection of hydrogen peroxide in milk. When as you know, for a long-term preservation of milk, they are using hydrogen peroxide, so you can use for long term. But by using graphene oxide and CFSDA in milk, we can easily detect the percentage how fluorescence. We can easily detect by using the graphene oxide, and you can see the common structural identification like SCM and UV and XRD and IR. So from this you can confirm whether the metal is formed or not. And it is the most important application, that is X-ray photon spectroscopy. From this you can understand whether carbon and oxygen bond and how much percentage of graphene oxide formed from the graphite. And if you see the fluorescence of graphene oxide in presence of hydrogen peroxide, then you can see the graphene oxide fluorescence peak. And this is the once the hydrogen peroxide concentration increase, the fluorescence peak increase. And this is another study, the antibacterial activity. Like currently we need for coronavirus, we need what? Antiviral activity. So this is one study I did, antibacterial activity by using graphene oxide and Raman spectroscopy. So graphene oxide is having sulfur stretching and amide 6 band and nitrogen hydrogen bonding stretching, disulfide bond. So when you're putting the graphene oxide with the bacteria, then its concentration increase with the concentration of the graphene oxide, 50 microgram per ml, 100 microgram per ml, 150 microgram per ml. So then you can see the Raman band. Just go to back slide. Okay, sorry. Okay, you can see the Raman band of graphene oxide. It is having D band is around 1350, 1370. Then G band is around 1580. Then you can see this bacteria image. Just left side, I am telling the single bacteria. You can see the bacteria image. When you are adding 50 micron per ml, the shape is changing. When you are adding 100 micron per ml, the shape is another changing. 150 micron per ml, shape is another changing. And in many case of many bacteria, 50 micron per ml you can see, and 100 micron per ml you see, and 150 micron per ml you also see. Then this is the Raman shape. You can see when you are 50, 100 and 150, the peak is increasing. From this peak, we identify the disulfide stretching is increasing, and as well as your adenine peak also increasing. Amide 6-band peak is increasing. So that means it is not toxic, but it is killing bacteria. And you know, the current available in antibacterial drug like kanamycin, it is having 70-80 microgram per ml antibacterial activity. Whether graphene oxide is having only 1 microgram per ml antibacterial activity, and in case of some other bacteria, it is having 2 to 4 microgram per ml antibacterial activity. From this, we understand how nanotechnology is effective as a antibacterial activity. Then this is the BioFM image. In the A, you can see the only E. coli images. Then B, you can see 50 microgram per ml image. C 150, 100, and D is 150. Then the thickness of the peptidoglycan layer is increasing. It means it is killing. It is penetrating the bacteria by through its sharp edges. Okay, and same if you go to the E. faecalis images, then E. faecalis, then 50 microgram per ml, 100 microgram per ml, and 150 microgram ml. Then it is penetrating, so the sap is increases and it is killing the bacteria. So you can see the E. faecalis, and you know, A it is normal image, and B 50 microgram per ml, C 100 microgram per ml, and D 150 microgram per ml. In D, you can see when the concentration increases, the bacteria is almost invisible. And one more study I did by using the electronic structure of bacteria and graphene oxide. Then I saw its carbon and hydrogen peak, carbon and oxygen peaks are increasing by electronic structural analysis. You can see in the left side image. And another small study is oxidative stress of antibacterial properties of graphene oxide, cysteamine, by using nanohybrid. So cysteamine, you know, as a small molecule, it is attaching to the graphene oxide and it is giving the antibacterial activity. Always, as well as it is increasing the oxidative stress in case of bacteria. So this is also one kind of nice study. And you can see the when graphene oxide image, and A and B, you can see the graphene oxide attached to the cysteamine. Here scanning electron microscopy, you see graphene oxide image and graphene oxide attached to the cysteamine. And then you can see the its UV and its IR graph and the toxicity graph, and its ROS is increasing, and its binding energy, carbon oxygen binding energy is changing. You can left side is only graphene oxide and right side is graphene oxide conjugated with cysteamine. And you can see the antibacterial activity. That figure A is only bacteria, B, C, D, and different concentration of bacteria, and different concentration of graphene oxide conjugated with cysteamine material. So what the major effect, because you know the peptidoglycanol layer, the outer membrane of bacteria, it is having nanometer thickness. In gram positive is 7 to 8 nanometer, gram negative it is 70 to 80 nanometer. So due to the thickness of the bacteria, the antibacterial activity is changing. So this is a study. And then come to the future work, what we can design this by taking this graphene material. So you can make the device, and you know, white blood cell, red blood cell, that is nanometer level. Your DNA size is 2 nanometer. So you can easily detect from the blood sample and giving some antibody, you can easily detect before 2 years the patient is going to suffer from cancer or not. So whether patient is going to suffer from cancer after 2 years, you can easily detect by using the graphene surface. So this is one way. It is a very nice study. I also study this kind of study. It is published in Nanoscale in 2019, and I check different bacteria, that is 8 kind of bacteria in the Raman spectroscopy. The peak is also changing. The right side corner image you can see. Then this is the one brief description. When we are putting the bacterial membrane from the laser, then the spectrograph peak is changing, and we can easily design by using quantum analysis by which molecule the ion is penetrating to the bacteria. So because graphene oxide is having carbon, and bacteria is having oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen. So I found by using supercomputer that due to oxygen molecule, it is graphene oxide is attacking to the bacteria. So this is one kind of nice study. And what is the future use? Because as Dr. Pillai said, I'm going to tell about future bridging. So this is a general schematic of tissue engineering strategy. I think all of you know from human, they are taking from bone marrow, they are taking the stem cell, then they are culturing in the 2D medium, then they are adding some growth factor in 3, then the cells are growing, then they are culturing, then again they are putting the human. So from what benefit? Suppose a person is suffering from the diabetes, he is having less beta Langerhans cell in the pancreas. So if he change his stem cell to the beta Langerhans cell, then he can, for his lifetime, he can cure from the diabetes. And as you know, so many people are suffering from the bone related diseases. So we can work and this kind of thing. Cells are isolated and from the patient and in 2D culture and adding growth factor. Then cells are increasing. Then so growth factor, which kind of material you can use? So left side you see, I gave one copper gold hybrid. So there is mixture of copper chloride, hexadecylamine, and glucose. Then we are adding gold chloride. Then we are making some triangular plates, and then it is becoming copper gold tripods. So this material is published in SCS Applied Nanomaterial. So you can see TM images. There's proof of fingerprint. You can see the presence of copper and gold. The size is 100 nanometer. So that kind of material we can use here as a growth factor. So we can able to cure a disease by using the nanomaterial. This is another thing in the same way I'm telling. So from a person we are getting different kind of stem cell by using muscle stem cell, bone marrow stem cell, hematopoietic stem cell, adipose stem cell. Then this is differentiated to somatic cell, then reprogramming the cell and induced pluripotent stem cell, and it is converting to the multipotent stem cell. From the multipotent stem cell, we are changing it to osteoblast, neuron, pancreatic beta cell, red blood cell, cardiac muscle cell. Another way we are making the fertilized ovum, then blastocyst, embryonic stem cell, then it is going to multipotent stem cell. But second way is there is so much restriction. As you know, I think in India also there is restriction. We cannot use in second way. But first way we can use. So if a osteoblast means if a person is having some problem in the rheumatoid arthritis or joint problem, then if you put osteoblast there, then he can easily cure. If a person is having some Alzheimer disease, some brain disease, then if you inject the neuron cells, then the person is cured from the disease. And pancreatic beta cell, if you put pancreatic beta cell, as I told, then a person is cured from the diabetes. And if a person is having some problem with leukemia, this kind of things, then you are putting red blood cell, then it can easily cure from the cancer. And if a person is having heart problem, then if you are giving the cardiac muscle cells, then it can easily nowadays so much heart issues like bypass surgery, myocardial infarction, angina pectoris. So this all can be cured by using the cardiac muscle cells. So, but there is one problem, that is the immunoreaction is happening. So that is the only solution is we cannot use different stem cell. We can just use the person stem cell and curing the thing. So this is one thing. So this is my peer-reviewed publication in the recent years, and you can put my name in Google and you can find several publications. And if you can read from that things, and if you have any doubts or anything, you can send message to me through Facebook, LinkedIn, or some. My mail ID is nandasitanshusekhar@gmail.com, or you can collect my address from the Dr. Pillai or Dr. Joshi. So this is all about my presentation. So what I expect, if I keep on speaking, I will keep on speaking. So but you need to ask some questions, so that is better, because I always want the communication to be two-side. This I just show some of my study on nanotechnology, how it is going to become a large volume, how it can cure a human, how can it transform a normal disease to cure. So all these things you can it can possible by using the nanotechnology. So that's why I think in SCS, American Chemical Society, around 100 publication, 85% of publications are devoted towards the nanotechnology. So from this point, you can understand the importance of nanotechnology. And moreover, now coronavirus is spreading, and scientists already proved its size is 200 nanometer. So if you are using the sensing virus, or you can by using the nanotechnology drug delivery, you can kill the virus. So why nanotechnology is important? Because in this current scenario, the coronavirus treatment it's rely the all things involved in the nanotechnology. So that's why in this current situation, it is most important. And anyway, so thank you. So if you have any questions, so you can ask in the chat box, because I cannot hear your voice. So I don't know. I think some problem. So can I stop my presenting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can
So
do that.
you can ask questions in chat box.
Yeah, participants, if you have any questions for
I
Dr.
cannot
Sudhanshu,
hear
you
your
can
voice.
ask.
I don't know what problem.
Sir, that is, maybe you just have to check with the audio settings.
Yeah, yeah. Ask in the chat box.
Okay, dear
I can
participant.
answer you. It's not a big issue. If you have any questions, you can ask from the chat box.
Okay, dear participants, if you have any questions for Dr. Sudhanshu, you can ask in the chat box.
I think due to many members joined, there's some problem. Because we checked yesterday with Dr. Pillai and Dr. Sagar, it was working well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, we have one question. That is, what is the difference between the graphene oxide and expanded graphite? What about their conductivity?
Or you can send your question to Dr. Sagar, and some T. Prabhakar is presenting.
Please stop presenting. Sir, already few questions are being asked into the chat box. So first question is, what is the difference between the graphene oxide and expanded graphite? What about their conductivity?
Okay. Okay, I'll answer one by one. So, okay. Graphene oxide synthesized by you, and or commercial available used in your research. Uh, wait. Emil. I synthesize it. Is this the role of nanoparticle to treat Takir?
Sir, you can directly speak to
And,
all the participants. I guess for you, there is no need to write in the chat box. We can hear you, sir.
how approach with nanomedicines? COVID treatment with nanomedicine. Arjat Muniraj. Muniraj. One thing, can you ask one by one question so I can easily answer you? Cross connected share speaker mail ID, directly mail him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can directly speak to the audience. There is no need to type in the chat box. You just, I will read the question for you. You can directly answer them.
Okay. Hello. Is there any more question?
Yes.
Okay. So, one question, can you discuss the question and answer? Other participant would be benefited. Okay, you can write your questions here, then I'll answer. No problem, one by one. Write your questions.
Sir, I think due to technical issue,
Gulmi
there is
Chakravarti sir wondering about the prospect of hybrid GO with synthesized amino acid based amphifiers for drug delivery application. Yeah, because it is we are synthesizing the graphene oxide by aqueous method, so it is not problem for drug delivery. And if it is some we need some modification also, we are adding some drug molecule and we modifying it, and then we are using. So Vishal Dhamcha, how can we identify the size and shape of the nanoparticle in the liquid sample? We can identify by using dynamic light scattering and zeta potential method by checking the size. And the shape of the nanoparticle, you can use scanning electron microscopy. If it is not possible, then you can use transmission electron microscopy to check the shape of the particle. I think Dr. Vishal Dhacha, you are clear. So you can ask here. It's you can ask more question here. I can answer. Are you? I think you are audible to me. Okay. So if anyone is having any question, you can write here, like Dr. Vishal Dhamcha. So Shivam Joshi is asking, sir, I was synthesis GO with the help of coconut shell. It is usually for drug delivery. No, coconut shell, if you are using, I don't think it will have some nanotechnology properties. But if it is having some nanotechnology properties, then you can use as a for antifungal. It is useful. So Shivam Joshi, your answer is you can use your material as antifungal. So I think it is useful. So are you okay, Shivam Joshi? I think I cleared your doubt. So next question is Sadev Dang. I have a question, sir. Going through your publication in Science, IPO Science and Nanotechnology, used silver nanoparticle along with neodymium oxide. Not neodymium oxide, it's graphene oxide. Instead of that, we can use any other noble material. Then what would you have the scenario and about the large scale manufacturing of nanoparticle? Okay, you can try with other material like carbon nanotube, but carbon nanotube is toxic. You can try with iron oxide. Then it is very useful for the technology. So I think you clear Sadev Dan. So another question, Misaf Khan, sir, what is your research area of interest? Currently, I am using stem cell. I am proliferating and I am changing the stem cell properties into the normal human cell, like eye cell, kidney cell. So I am changing. That is my current interest. Misaf Khan, I think I clear. So Silpi Roy, yes, sir, we can hear you properly. Okay, thank you. And Falguni Parmar, sir, can you please suggest what field is better for as a research field? Okay, Falguni Parmar, you can do research. I don't know your facility, which kind of facility available with you. We can proceed for collecting into whatever requirement need of research betterment of for your future. You can do now currently electrospinning is very hot topic. You can do if you are a chemistry background, you can synthesize some nanofiber in novel method. So that is for you, but I don't know your field. So okay, sir. And Neha Mahale, sir, which is the best method to synthesize nanoparticle? You can do in aqueous method, and you can use some various capping agent like hexadecylamine, octadecylamine, and cetyl triethylammonium bromide. Then you can synthesize the nanoparticle. So this way you can synthesize nanoparticle. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Neha Mahale, I think you clear. So Gulmi Chakravarti, which amino acid based amplifier would be most likely candidate for geo hybrid to increase the absorption of the release of target specific drug? You can use anthrachloric acid and some cysteamine, cysteine, L-cysteine. That is better. So I think Gulmi Chakravarti, you are clear to me. Dr. Vishal Dhamcha, sir, can we use atomic force microscopy for liquid samples? Yes, you can use liquid sample by using BioFM. But if BioFM is not available with you, then you can make it dry on silicon substrate and you can use for atomic microscopy. Dr. Vishal, I think you clear to me. Gopal Udama, Falguni, how nanotechnology used for prevention against COVID-19? From nanotechnology like iron oxide nanoparticle or 25-20 nanometer particle, gold nanoparticle, you can make some vaccines, and you can conjugate its antibody surface and it can easily attack to the vaccine, COVID vaccine. COVID-19 virus, and it can cure. Falguni Parmar, I think it clear. So Hemil Patel, how to deal with stability of silver nanoparticle for up to 1 to 2 months. Stability, I don't know which method you are preparing, but if you are preparing with the aqueous method, so you can run the experiment for long time, 24 to 72 hours. So it can automatically form the stability. And when you are starting the experiment, silver nanoparticle, put 5 minute liquid nitrogen to the solution. So your stability will not 1 2 months, it will go 1 year 2 year also. I think Hemil Patel, you are clear. Fakirman Sahu, sir, how nanoparticle are used in food industry? Food industry, it is very good in for as a packaging material. If you use nanoparticle, then it will kill all kind of bacteria, virus, fungus. There, you see food in some food long time store, then smell to us. But if you kill bacteria, virus, and fungus, then it will not smell. So packing material, it is very good use nanoparticle. Then Priyadarshini Setar, sir, what is the antioxidant properties of this nanoparticle? Antioxidant properties, it is very high in case of some nanoparticle. Those are having oxidation group, like this graphene oxide is highly antioxidant properties. Silver also and copper nanoparticles also highly antioxidant properties. Priyadarshini, I think you are clear to me. So Vishal Dhamcha, sir, what is the difference between graphene oxide and expanded graphite? What about the conductivity? Conductivity, this is electrical work, but I think expanded graphite is nothing. Graphene oxide is synthesized from the graphite, it oxidizes graphite, and it is synthesis of graphene oxide. And when you are graphene oxide, you are treating with hydrogen and some reducing agent, then it is becoming reduced graphite. So this is Dr. Vishal Damcha, I think you clear. Okay, Gulmi clear. Chandani Patel, sir, any research were done use nanotechnology in microbiology field? Yeah, lots of research. You can use silver nanomaterial, copper nanomaterial, and some other nanomaterial for treating the nanotechnology. You can kill the bacteria, and you can use some laser method also. By eradication laser, you can kill the bacteria. So Chandani Patel, I think you are clear to me. So Falguni Parmar, okay. Bina Rokhande, sir, is the nanoparticle are used in agriculture field? Yes, for immunoboosting, proton effect. Because you know hydronium ion is 1 nanometer. So, but for immunoboosting, if you make water to the hydronium, then it can use as a immunoboosting material. So it can use in the agriculture field. Suppose you are getting onion or in 1 month, by using nanotechnology, you can get onion in 5 days also. So it can even boost to the plant. Bina Rakhande, I think it's clear to me. So Satish Kohli, thank you very much. Okay. Rebatala, can nanoparticle be used as a vaccine? Yeah, now whatever the method they are trying for corona vaccine, Gilead they are trying, they are using nanoparticle. So iron oxide is proved already. It can use as a vaccine, vehicle for vaccine. So I think you clear Iyer, Rebati Iyer. Hemil Patil, okay, for answering 3 questions so long. So Sagnik Mukherjee, during incorporation of nanoparticle into organic framework, metallic organic framework, instead of measurement of pore size, MOF, which are the parameter need to be taken care of. Parameter is size and its activity. So metal organic framework you can use as a biosensor. So Sagnil and Priyadarshini sector, thank you. Anjali Jadhav, sir, each nanoparticle can be used for corona vaccine. Yeah, Gilead company is trying. Your answer is that. So Anjali Jadhav and Vishal Dhamcha, thank you, clearing doubts. Bina Rokhande, thank you. Falguni Parmar, sir, is the nanotechnology used for environmental science field? How? Environmental science field you can use for using humidifier, dehumidifier. This kind of environmental you can use. Environmental reduce the environmental toxicity you can use, and you can fabrication of material, that also you can use. Environmental is vast field, so I don't know which field you are interested. So anyway, I think you understand. So Hemil Patil, which biocompatible material used as a capping agent for silver nanoparticle? Silver nanoparticle you can use hexadecylamine And some PVPK 30 binder they are also using as captive agent, famous captive agent, and I think PVPK 30 is better for silver nanoparticle. But thing is, if you do the repeated thing, it is not publishable. So if you try with some hexadecylamine or octadecylamine and as a capping agent and synthesize new silver nanoparticle, then it is publishable. You can go to the higher impact factor journal. Informative topic. Okay, sir. Thank for answer so luckily. Thank you. Can you please elaborate little bit about use of nanoparticle agriculture? Yeah, Jayantra Diwan. As I told, water in hydrogen atom is 1 nanometer. So if you break water into hydronium ion, then if you use in the agriculture field, then it is work as the immunoboosting material. So this is the current research. This is known as proton effect. So Jayanti Diwan, you are clear. Sankha Sahel, you said such information. How do nanoparticle improve drug delivery efficiency? Drug delivery efficiency will be more because size is less, surface area is more. Once the size is less, then the drug delivery efficiency will increase. Sir, Kalpesh Rawal, sir, can you help us to get admission in your university at PhD level? Oh, critical question. Anyway, I'll help you, no problem. Be in touch with me. But not my university. You can try any international university. But for that, you need to prepare your English score like IELTS and TOEFL. Once you get your score, then you can contact. You can go to some other university also. It's no problem. So, Kalpesh Raval, can I have your email ID? Okay, I already gave nandasitansusekhar@gmail.com. But you can put my name in Google also. You can find my email ID. Sitanshu Sekhar Nanda. You can put. You can find my email ID. So it's no problem. Or you can collect my mail ID from your Dr. Sagar or Dr. Pillai. They can give my email ID. So it's no problem. So actually, initially I missed some questions. So if anyone want, then he can ask. He or she can ask questions now. Because I missed some questions. Actually, there is some communication gap, so don't misunderstand me. So questions are welcome. Anjali Jadhav, sir, is nanoparticle safe? Yeah, some nanoparticle is safe, but some nanoparticle is toxic because you see the nowadays the TV screen is coming quantum LED, QT LED. They are using quantum dot, cadmium selenide quantum dot. So if you are using that nanoparticle for eating purpose, then that is toxic. So some are top physical field like TV, microelectronics, that field, and some are in medical field. So it differs. Okay. So okay. Anyone don't mind? So if I miss anyone question, you can repeat the question. So I never mind. Actually, some communication gap, so I miss your question. So you can ask your question. Okay, sir, do you have CryoTM facility at your institute? Inquiring for one for my works. Yeah, I have CryoTM facility. Gulmi Chakraborty, I have CryoTM facility, but it is costly. So you have to be very careful for your material. So that is better for you. Okay. So if anyone want more question, you can ask. Do you have XPS facility at your institute? Yeah, I have. I have extra photon electroscopy, but I have XPS facility. Himani Medhi, I have XPS facility in my institute.
Okay, so dear participants, if you have more doubts, more questions, you are always welcome to ask the question to Dr. Sitanshu. Sir,
Okay,
I
if
request,
a question over, then we can say, end the session.
yeah.
If your question is over, then we can end the session. Dr. Sagar will end the session.
Fine. I guess, sir, if
Okay.
still, if people are having the questions, sir is always available to the email ID. So you can ask him whatever questions that you want to ask. And sir is always ready to help with your questions. Sir, on the
Okay.
behalf of P.P.
Thank you
Sawan
all.
University and School of
Nice to
Sciences.
see you. Have a good day. Have a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
weekend also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we are very thankful that you
Bye.
shared such an informative session with the participants. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Please provide us mail ID, Himani Mehdi. You can take it from Dr. Pillai and Dr. Sagar. It's not an issue. Or you can search in Google. Anju Kambale, good session. Thank you. Baswant Jadeja, thanks for organizing for giving opportunity. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I request
Agnik
all of
Mukherjee,
you.
you can contact Dr. Sagar and Dr. Pillai. You can contact them. They'll give you. My research area is, I don't have metallic organic framework research work. But anyway, if you need some help, you can contact them.
Okay, I request the participants to even join for our another
Okay.
webinar organized by School of Sciences.
Okay. Have a nice weekend. See you. Bye.
Bye, sir. So I request all the participants to even join for our upcoming webinar, which is on Tuesday, this Tuesday.
We are also request you to please fill the feedback form. Feedback form is necessary to have the certificate. Afterwards, if you have not filled the feedback form, no queries will be entertained for the certificate. Please request you to fill the feedback form, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, organizers.